It was a quiet Sunday evening, the kind that settles heavy on your soul, when the weight of the week's pretenses finally becomes too much to bear. That night, a single careless sentence unraveled the life I had built with the man I once believed was my soulmate. I never meant to hurt him. I didn't even realize he was close enough to hear. Yet those words, thrown into the air without thought, shattered everything we had created together. My closest friend, Sarah, had stopped by for a casual glass of wine. We sat together in the warm glow of the living room, the stillness of evening wrapping us in a false sense of comfort. I thought Nathan, my husband, was upstairs sorting through things in the storage room, or so I believed. Our conversation wasn't really balanced. It was mostly me venting while she listened. The wine had loosened my tongue, and months of tension, the arguments, the long silences, the exhaustion that had seeped into my bones came flooding out like a dam breaking. I don't know. "Sarah," I whispered, pressing my fingers to my temples. "Sometimes I just wish I'd never married him." The moment the words left my lips, I felt it. A cold twist deep in my stomach, as though I had spoken something that could never be undone. Sarah's head snapped toward me, her voice sharp and uncertain. "You don't mean that," she said. But the truth wasn't simple. Part of me did mean it. Not out of hatred, but out of weariness. When love slowly transforms into obligation, and obligation begins to rot into regret, everything blurs. And yet another part of me still loved him, or at least I thought I did. What I didn't know was that Nathan was standing on the staircase, frozen, listening to every word. The next morning, something in the house felt wrong. The coffee maker sat unused. His keys weren't by the door. His boots, always neatly aligned, were missing. I assumed he'd left early for work, but unease gnawed at me. Nathan never left without a goodbye kiss, not even after our worst fights. By noon, I called his phone. No answer. I sent a text. Nothing. Desperate, I opened my laptop to email him, but there was already one message waiting in my inbox. The subject line was a single word: "Farewell." "I overheard you last night," the email began. I wasn't meant to, but I did. Those words weren't spoken in anger. They were your truth. And that truth broke me. "I gave everything I had to us, but you've been carrying regret this whole time. Don't try to find me. The divorce papers are already filed. I'm not angry. I just can't be someone's regret." "Nathan," my breath caught. I read the message again and again, every line hitting harder than the last. There was no rage, no plea to fix things, no demand for answers, just a quiet, final goodbye. I drove to his office, only to find out he had resigned that very morning. His desk was cleared out, his phone disconnected, his social media gone. Mutual friends knew nothing, and his brother only said Nathan needed space and didn't want contact. It was as though he had vanished into thin air. A few days later, the divorce papers arrived. Crisp, official, and already signed. The process had been set in motion without a word exchanged. My role reduced to filling blanks: name, address, signature. Done. I waited for anger to rise, for denial to take hold, but none of that came. Instead, there was only guilt, thick, suffocating guilt. Memories of our early years came rushing back. The way Nathan used to look at me as if I was his entire world, his steady patience when I needed distance, his strength when I stumbled. I remembered his expression at dinner just a few days before. Tired, distant, yet still trying. He was still holding on. I was the one who had already let go. Sleep became impossible. I replayed that moment on the couch endlessly, dissecting every word, wondering why I'd said it. Was it truth or just a moment of weakness? Maybe I had buried my doubts instead of facing them with him. Months passed. I even hired a private investigator, but Nathan had left no trace. No new address, no bank activity, nothing. He had erased himself completely. Eventually, I understood. Hearing those words, especially when I thought he wasn't listening, wasn't just painful, it was a revelation. It confirmed what he had probably feared all along, that my love for him had faded in silence. And when he heard it spoken aloud, he chose to walk away, preserving the last piece of his dignity. Now I often wonder where he is. If he's happy, If he's found someone who looks at him each morning and sees him as their greatest decision. Because now I know he was mine. But that realization came far too late. Nathan disappeared to reclaim his peace, leaving me behind with nothing but the echo of my own careless words, words I can never take back.